Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Hulk Hogan, the wrestling legend, he died last week at the age of 71. And as you might expect, his fans came out and poured their sympathy and respect for the fallen icon. Now, that also opened up a big can of worms for a lot of other people, because it was revealed in later years that Hogan, he had a problem with certain races of people, especially a black fellow that was with his daughter. He didn't take that too kind, and once it was revealed how he responded to such things, he was banned from the WWE Hall of Fame that he had previously been inducted into. Now, he did get his induction reinstated only after he went on this lengthy apologetic tour, and fans have seemed to have forgotten it. Well, in later years, he went on to be a staunch supporter of the Republican Party, and and he continued to do his apologetic tour to try to make sure his name stayed clean. But of course, he was called out on that, and it's been a hot topic last week about the true legacy of Hulk Hogan. Me, I don't really know a whole lot about everything that he supposedly had done, but I was aware of the incident concerning his daughter. But as far as him in sport, the only thing that I can have as a memory of Hogan is when he came out in that Rocky movie and almost beat Rocky half to death before he gave away to the true spirit of a exhibition bout. But other than that, I don't know a whole lot about Hogan, so I would just say just acknowledge what he did. And he said he was apologizing, but the question always lingers once you've been accused of something. Even though you apologize, can you really be believed? And that is the legacy of Hogan that it will forever be stained, because no one truly knows. Now, speaking of wrestling legends, Brock Lesnar, the MMA star, he has been banned from professional wrestling because evidently he's a part of a lawsuit tied to Vince McMahon. And evidently it has something to do with trafficking, sex trafficking, and because of that, the WWE doesn't want to have anything to do with him. Now, if that is indeed the case, then of course you can understand why an organization will want to distance themselves from anybody involved in such activity, even with a well-known star like Lesnar. But the thing is, most of the time, people, they're more interested in the good in people that they view as an icon. In other words, the kids, they see a Hulk Hogan or a Brock Lesnar, and they might strive to be like that person without getting involved in the politics and all the other personal stuff that these people may be involved in. And such is the case from a person I met last week. I told you guys before that I do ride share, and I meet all sorts of people. And this particular person here is a budding MMA fighter. So he's agreed to come on in principle to do an interview, and I expect to be doing that interview sometime this week. But I'm pretty sure people like Lesnar and Hulk Hogan will be mentioned in that interview as inspiration for somebody who will want to get into the brutal acts or the brutal arts of such sports. Now, also speaking of Hall of Fame and rideshare, the other day I just happened to be cruising on the north end of Jacksonville, and I picked up this fella, and we got to talking about the history of Jacksonville, and all of a sudden he blurts out that his mother is the brother of Bob Hayes, and basically he's saying that Bob Hayes was his uncle. And if you looked at the fella, there's a lot of resemblance there. So I have no reason to doubt that if he is a nephew of Bob Hayes, he certainly looks the part. But it was completely unsolicited, and he also went on to tell me that Hayes is not from Jacksonville. He's actually from a place called Titusville. Now, like I said, I can't prove where Hayes actually came from, but I do know Titusville. And you start adding to the list of the people that I've met over the years, that's been tied up to the sports world of the well-known people, about well-known people. This just adds to the list. A couple of weeks ago, I picked up a pitcher that was on assignment, transferred over from the Mets down to the Marlins organization, and was going to be pitching on the AAA team here in Jacksonville called the Jumbo Shrimp. That was Tyler Zuber. I picked up relatives from Chief Wahoo, the guy that well known on the Washington Redskins days, dressed up like a chief. He was from Jacksonville. Met his relatives, and several other people. Rasheem Mathis met his mom, pulled his mom one day. So I like being rideshare because you get a chance to run into people that you never would have the opportunity to run across, and it all comes through the normal flow of a conversation on a friendly ride across town, and I actually enjoy that. Now, the other thing I want to talk about today is I see the rapper Glorilla was arrested and supposed to be for drug possession. Well, as I dug into the story, it said that her house was being burglarized, and from what I understand, the burglars ran away and somebody inside shot at the people leaving the scene. Well, when the cops got there, they don't have anybody to arrest, but they started looking around and trying to find a reason to do harm to Glorilla. Well, it was reported that when they got to the house to investigate the crime, they smelled marijuana, which allowed them to put in a warrant request to search the house. And lo and behold, that's when they found the so-called drugs that Glorilla was arrested on. And one thing that puzzles me about that particular situation, they said it was in Atlanta, but she was arrested by Forsyth County. Well, Atlanta is close to Forsyth, but that's two different counties. And if she lives in Forsyth County, I'm trying to figure out why. Forsyth County has a very, very checkered past with people that look like me and Glorilla. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in 1912, they chased out everybody that looked like me. And it stayed that way for the balance of 80-something years. Slowly, the population has got some color in there, but most of the color that has gone to Forsyth County are people of Indian descent. Why? Because they have the same thought process about being in a safe white environment like what you have in Forsyth County, and they believe some of the things that reported on the news to give people like me a bad image. Well, the thing that puzzles me again about it is if you're in Atlanta or you're in Forsyth County. And secondly, if you are in Forsyth County, why would you be there? I say that because everybody in the South know about Forsyth County. Stay away from Forsyth County. So if she is from Tennessee, why does she not know about the legend of Forsyth County? It is true. Those people came there. Once they found out where they were going, the idea was to try to find something to pin on the rapper, which they did. And it's the same kind of thing that took place when that Tamala Horsford lady was found dead when she was spending the night with her so-called friends, and she was the only person of color. They swept that under the rug, and to this day, nobody has ever been charged. So these are the kind of things that go on in Forsyth County. She doesn't have a stand a chance. So where she might have in Atlanta be able to get these charges off her with minimal damage, she's going to probably be facing something serious to come down the pipe in Forsyth County. So my question is, why would she be involved with Forsyth County in the first place? That is the one thing that I'm confused about, and I hope that somebody can tell me why Forsyth County is involved in this particular situation. And I can understand why she was arrested now because of who she's dealing with. And if this was DeKalb or Fulton County or Clayton, it wouldn't be this situation. But Forsyth, they're going to escalate this to the hilt to make a point and try to say, well, this is why we are the way we are, even though nobody's going to come out and directly say that. But I'm disappointed in her because this is something she should have known about. So that's just my take on that. So this is Sports for Real.